New Wave Nerds Journal, August 26, 2025. Dog carcass in alley this morning. Tire tread on burst stomach. This podcast is afraid of me. The accumulated filth of all their sex and murder will foam up about their waists, and all the podcast listeners and subscribers will look up and shout, "Save us!" And I'll look down and whisper, "No." I'm your host, Brennan Sam. Joining me this episode is none other than my co-host, Shayde Sam. Like and subscribe down below for more good content and commentary. Now let's roll the intro.
In Watchmen, a version of 1985 where superheroes exist, the murder of a colleague sends active vigilante Rorschach on the trail of a conspiracy that will change the course of history. The film was released in 2009 and directed by Zack Snyder and written by David Hayter and Alex Say, based on material by Dave Gibbons. The movie stars Jackie Earle Haley, Patrick Wilson, Carla Gugino, Malin Ackerman, Billy Crudup, Matthew Good, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Now, as always, we're going to begin with a brief non-spoiler review. Shayde, what did you think revisiting Watchmen 2009?
This movie sucks. I'm just kidding. So to put it lightly, this is not only one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, but one of my favorite movies of all time. I've loved this movie for a very long time, as you know. There's just so much that goes into this movie, and so much detail, and so much like hidden things, little Easter eggs that are fun and interesting to look at. The characters are great. The casting choices are great. Choreography is here nor there, but it's just such a phenomenal movie.
Yeah,
I hold very sorry.
No, go ahead. You finish.
I just hold dearly.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
Oh no,
You said you hold dearly?
yes, to my heart.
Yes, I think this movie is pretty good. It's definitely not as good as like the first time I saw it. I think the general perception of this movie is that when it came out, it was bad, but on every rewatch, it gets better. And I think that is mostly true. I've definitely hit the ceiling of where of how much I like the movie, though. But it is certainly enjoyable. Like you mentioned, the casting is great. Everybody's firing on all cylinders. I think the problem with this movie lies in some of the choices that Zack Snyder makes.
Yeah.
I think by and large, the movie is good. And one of the reasons that it's good is because it stays, apart from a few departures, fairly faithful to the original source material. And the fact that you could distill that massive 12-issue miniseries into, I don't know how long the theatrical cut was, 2 hours 45 or 3.5 for the ultimate cut, which is the one that I watched. The fact that it's even comprehensible in that short amount of time is impressive in and of itself. I mean, it's just a massive book.
It definitely has that Snyder style.
It does.
And we all know what the Snyder style is: intense, harsh.
Slow-mo.
Some, what else is there? Some crazy zoom-ins.
Yeah, there's a few. Zoom outs mostly in this movie.
Zoom outs.
Extreme zoom outs. I think another Snyder trademark that you really see in this movie is that almost everybody is either at a 2 or at an 11. They're either super quiet and so, I don't want to say down to earth, but so calm, or they're blowing up beyond all control.
When you said that, when you were like a 2 or 11, I was like, what do you mean by that? Right.
But
there?
now that I've
Yeah.
explained, it makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. Okay. That does make sense. Yeah. Either there's really no in between. You get chill and relaxed, or you're just, blowing holes in people.
Yeah.
Without a care in the world.
Yeah. You're either talking very quietly or you're screaming at the top of your lungs.
Yeah.
There is no in between. But yeah, no, I agree. The movie is good. It definitely, Zack Snyder gets a lot of hate these days from some of his other movies. This is definitely one of his better ones.
Yes.
It's tough. I was going to say maybe Man of Steel is better than this.
No.
Okay.
I say that quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know if it necessarily, I mean, I'm iffy on whether or not it is, but regardless, I don't think that the movie is good enough to warrant that fast of a no. Like,
I love this movie so much.
I know, but how much of that for you is nostalgia based?
Not a lot.
Don't lie to me like that.
All right.
Don't you
there's
lie to me
some
like
nostalgia
that.
base there. But, there's the other factor of it's just a great movie.
It's a pretty good movie. I think let's get into the spoiler section so we can really talk about the movie itself.
Yes.
The first thing that I want to say is that I think this movie was released too early. Too early. This movie probably shouldn't have been made in 2009. For a few reasons. One, there's some moments where the CGI in 2009 is not quite there.
Yeah.
Especially in some of the explosions, the ways in which Dr. Manhattan kills people, or, the explosion at the end of the title sequence. Some of those are iffy. But also, Watchmen, both the movie and the book, are like a deconstruction of superheroes and superhero mythos and comic books in general, and comic book movies in the case of this. The fact that it's released in 2009 means that there isn't as much reverie in superhero movies as there would have been in, say, 2016, which is the beginning of the height of the superhero movie. 2016 is it's a little ways after Age of Ultron. We've got a couple years after Winter Soldier. I think 2016 is actually the year of Civil War. We're leading up into the end game, into Avengers Infinity War. If this movie had been released in 2016 or 2018, I think we'd be having a really, really different conversation about it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Zack Snyder, 2016, doesn't make Watchmen in 2009. Decides in 2016 he's going to make Watchmen. How do you think it'd go?
I think it would probably be a much better movie. I think, okay, so we've obviously talked a lot about Man of Steel, just on the podcast in general. 2016 is the year of Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah, it was a good year.
It is hard to argue that regardless of the story and all of that, as far as the filmmaking goes, Batman v Superman is a much better made movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
It looks a lot better. And part of that is because of the technology and the amount of budget and all of this. Part of it is because Snyder had those years to sort of figure out his style and to meld it into more of a way to take a mainstream thing and put his spin on it. Whereas this is like Snyder to the max.
Yeah.
And part of that is probably because there was a lot of studio executives in his ear throughout all of the making of the DCEU.
Yeah, that's fair.
The movie, it's good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But there was a time a couple years ago, probably around the start of this podcast, where I would have said, hands down, Watchmen is one of the best superhero movies ever made. I don't know if I feel the same way anymore.
Okay.
It's up there. It's pretty good. It's better than a lot of things that we've seen since then. But I don't think I can say that it's one of the best ever made anywhere. We've just had too many good movies.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no way it's in top 5.
For me, it's no. Okay, I don't know about top 5.
Look, because I know how you feel about Dark Knight, about The Batman. We talk about Civil War, Winter Soldier, Avengers Infinity War. I know you like Man of Steel a lot, but you said that's not as good as this.
Yeah, I could watch this way more times than I could watch Man of Steel.
But I mean, just off the bat, I've named 5 that I know that you love.
That's fair. It's definitely in top 10. Oh, shoot, that's a fair point because it can't be Logan. It can't be.
I forgot about Logan entirely.
Fudge Sickles.
I mean, here's the thing. Do you think this is a better movie than like even Days of Future Past?
Yeah, I'd rather watch this than Days of Future Past. I haven't gone back and watched Days of Future Past forever. You know?
That's crazy. I don't know if this is better than Days of Future Past.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. so flabbergasted.
Yeah, I don't think it. I'm not 100% sure it is. I mean, I watched Days of Future Past maybe last year, so there's definitely there's a time gap in there, but
I don't know what it is about this movie besides some nostalgia base. But other than that, I don't know what it really is about this movie. There's the soundtrack is really good.
I would argue that.
I really like the soundtrack.
I think there's a couple moments where the soundtrack is good, but some of the times I'm like, this is a weird choice.
Yeah.
This, again, it's another time where I'm like, okay, this is a Zack Snyder choice.
At least it's not a Gunn choice. A James Gunn soundtrack. Shoot, bro.
I mean, it is. It's James. Zack Snyder and James Gunn, when they pick soundtracks, are very similar apart from the tone of the songs that they pick and where they choose to place them. But they are both taking songs that are like popular, regular music.
One example I have for the soundtrack is Bob Dylan and what is it? Times
They Are a Changin'.
Yeah. That
I don't even count that as a Zack Snyder choice though.
Really?
I don't, because, and here's why. In the foreword or the introduction, I can't remember how it's designated, but in one of those opening sections to the Watchmen Deluxe Edition, Dave Gibbons, who is the co-creator of Watchmen, he's the guy who did all the pencils, co-creator of Comic Sans too, by the way. He talks about how the entire idea of Watchmen started based on a Bob Dylan song.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's why it's fun to read the forward or introduction sometimes.
Cool.
And that's why the first issue, if I remember correctly, the first issue title for the series is a part of a line from a Bob Dylan song.
Weird. Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. Also, another song, the funeral scene, the comedian's funeral scene.
Sorry, yes, I want to talk about that, but really quick, I just double checked. It is, so the first issue is called "At Midnight, All the Agents," which is a lyric taken from Bob Dylan's song "Desolation Row." At midnights, all the agents and superhuman crew go out and round up everyone who knows more than they do.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
See, that makes me love this movie even more. No, I don't know. I really like let's talk about the comedian.
Yeah, the funeral scene.
Yeah, the funeral scene. The music choice for that.
The Sound of Silence.
Yeah, that was good.
It works. That one works.
That was really good. I'm trying to think of some other songs, but I can't.
There were a bunch of others, throughout that I'm blanking on right now. But there were certainly a few moments where I was like, this feels really out of place. I mean, Unforgettable in the beginning is good.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is, and this is a point that is in Zack Snyder's favor. The reason that Unforgettable works is because the commercial on the TV is for Nostalgia by Vite. Nostalgia Unforgettable.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And that's a major thing throughout the comics that we don't really get to see throughout the movie because there's only limited time. But that's a choice where it 100% makes sense because it ties in directly and it makes sense of why it would be on the commercial.
Yeah, that's fair.
But 99 Luftballons. That was a bad choice for me. Ride of the Valkyries was such a boring choice, and it felt, as much as that song or that piece is, associated with like the Vietnam War, it just felt really out of place.
I'm Your Boogeyman. I read a thing that
was a bad one.
Was talking about why that song was in there in that moment, and it's the scene where Night Owl and Peacemaker are messing up some Peacemaker's killing protesters, but sorry.
No, go ahead.
So
I was just highlighting that so I didn't forget.
So the thought behind it, I guess, was that Peacemaker, to these people, because they know what he does and they know how ruthless he is the boogeyman, and it's really cool. I just thought that was a cool little thing.
Yeah, it's just all the choices are so super on the nose, and I don't really like it. Like All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix is like, it's a great song. I love the song, but literally the part of the lines that he chooses to highlight the song is something about two men walking along, and it's literally when Rorschach and Night Owl are walking towards Adrian Veidt's facility, Karnak, in Antarctica.
Yeah. Fun fact, my middle name is Hendrix.
Yeah, nobody cares.
All right.
I'm just kidding. It's what, again, good song. I don't think it's the right choice for this. And that's why when you said that it's not a James Gunn choice, I was like, did you even, like, what do you mean?
I don't like the song. Like, I enjoyed most of the songs that they played in this, but James Gunn, Guardians 1, that's fine. Good choices. That's a Guardians movie. They could be wild with those. It was the 80s. Most of the songs are from the 80s and like some 60s, and because they got Cook in there, Sam Cooke in there. Good song. But
I think that was actually Guardians 2.
Oh yeah, no, that was Guardians 2. Shoot. So
anyways,
Guardians 2 has some good stuff. Anyway, But then like with Superman, Peacemaker season 1, you know, there's just so many random absurd songs that really like tone it down for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about Mr. Terrific scene in Superman.
Yeah.
What was he thinking? I don't know.
That's a scene to me, apart from the way that Mr. Terrific is fighting, the fact that Mr. Terrific is having this fight while this song is playing in the background, that's a scene that would be in place in this movie. If you change the tone of the fight where Mr. Terrific is killing people instead of just like having fun, that scene would fit in this movie.
All right, fair point.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, so let's
all
not
right.
make this a debate over James Gunn or Zack Snyder, because that's been had ad nauseum and we don't need to talk about it.
Where does Henry Cavill fit? I'm
Henry
just kidding.
Cavill, I was trying to think of who he would. I mean, I don't know if he's got the ability, and he wouldn't be as good as Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but he's got the build for comedian.
Yeah, he could do a comedian. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't know if he has the attitude for the comedian. I can't see him.
No, and here's the thing. Let's talk about the cast, because you
Yeah.
mentioned it at the top. Everybody in this movie is perfectly cast. I mean, Jackie
Yes, it
Earl
is.
Haley is Rorschach. Patrick Wilson is Dan Dryberg, or Night Owl. Billy Crudup is Dr. Manhattan. Matthew Good is Ozymandias. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is the comedian. They are firing on all cylinders. I think Malin Ackerman is probably the weakest part of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of her line delivery is just not on par, and it's tough because maybe she's fine, but she's acting alongside Patrick Wilson's Dan Dryberg and Billy Crudup's Dr. Manhattan, who are both incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
Fair
just
point.
more noticeable that like her lines aren't top tier, but yeah, it's a lot of the scenes where I'm like, this was the take you went with, are her scenes, which I like. Laurie Jupiter and that character, the themes explored throughout her backstory and stuff are so interesting and so well written, again based off the source material, but they are adapted into the movie in a way that I think is elegantly done, if you can say that about her history.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. No, I mean, I would say, yeah, Malin Ackerman.
Mhm. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but
Malane Ackerman.
Wow. Anyways, go ahead.
I think her, yeah, out of all of the main casts, hers definitely is kind of the one I lose focus on the most. You know, because yeah, how can you not focus on Rorschach's acting and Night Owl and the comedian, Dr. Manhattan? Too good to top.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we talk about how great Rorschach. We were at dinner earlier, and you and I were talking, and I was talking we were with my dad too, and we were like, they are so lucky that they got Jackie Earl Haley to be Rorschach. If it were almost anybody else, the movie would have failed, because Rorschach's the main character.
Yeah.
Even in the synopsis, he's the only one who gets named. But I want to say, fun fact about Jackie Earl Haley, they did not want him for this, because he was like a kid on a sitcom back in the day or something along those lines.
Really?
Yes. They didn't want him, but he championed for that role so hard, and eventually they gave it to him, and it was obviously the best decision they could have made.
Yeah, I mean, for so long. I mean, when me and Brennan went to KC Comic-Con for our first year, I was so infatuated with Rorschach. I was going to cosplay as Rorschach, and I bought a Rorschach mask. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked dumb on me.
Well,
it looked really
add
bad.
it to the list.
The
kidding.
Rorschach painting was like this tiny on the
Yeah, your
mask.
fat head.
Hey, I had long hair. That was the problem.
Sure.
Hey.
Anyways, that's why you can't pull off Rorschach.
My point is
just
that
kidding.
Rorschach was such a cool character.
Yeah.
That, I loved him right off the bat. Now it's changed. I'm a really big fan of Night Owl.
Mm-hmm.
I love Night Owl. I like how he's kind of like he's a nerd. He's nerdy, but he's also this brooding owl.
He's not brooding.
Yeah, he's not brooding.
No.
But he's this dangerous owl. I wouldn't mess with him.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't mess with anybody here. I mean, I don't know if this is in the theatrical cut, but in the extended version, we literally see Dan Dryberg break a guy's arm and shove the bone through the skin in that alleyway fight.
Yeah, that would suck. So yeah, this scary man. is just a nerd.
I gotta say, I would much rather fight Night Owl than I would Rorschach, though. I mean, Rorschach will literally drop you down an elevator shaft.
Rorschach will cut you up into pieces, bro. Didn't he cut a guy up in pieces with a hatchet? That
He cut his head into pieces, yeah.
well, in the graphic novel, I read that he sets the place on fire and gives him a hacksaw and is like, oh, you can cut yourself out. I sound like some. Wow, I sound southern. You could cut yourself out.
You can cut yourself
You
out.
could cut yourself out. Get out of this burning.
Rorschach's Journal, October 26, 1985.
This city. This city.
This city is afraid of me. It's finger licking good. I don't know why it sounds like the Colonel.
I don't know. I can't do it right now. But yeah, you know, he's I wouldn't want to fight him.
No, I mean, yeah, I think of all of the people in this movie, Night Owl's probably the one who I'd feel most comfortable fighting.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight Silk Spectre, bro.
The mom or the daughter?
I mean, yeah, no, I don't know. I wouldn't mind getting punched in the face. No, I'm just kidding.
One thing that I think is, you know, we talked about the soundtrack. I sort of dogged on it a little bit. You like it a bunch. One thing that I think is a really strong point in this movie is just the set design in general.
It's a good set design.
Everything from the cityscapes to Hollis Mason's apartment that we're only in for like 2 scenes, to Dryberg's laboratory, to even his kitchen. It's all so laid out. There's so much going on. It really does make you feel like it's a world that's lived in.
Yeah. One design I love a lot. And this goes back to you when you talked about the CGI with like the flames and stuff. I thought the design of Night Owl's ship,
Archimedes,
cool.
good old Archie.
Yeah, cool. I really thought that was cool, and I thought they did really good. A specific scene I'm thinking of when it comes to the CGI with that is where it's like rising out of the water.
Yeah,
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, a lot of the CGI is really good. It's just those few specific moments, like when Dr. Manhattan kills somebody, or when there's an explosion, where I'm like, this movie was made 2009.
Like you can.
No, go ahead.
The explosion with the Molotov.
At the end of the opening sequence.
Every time I watch that,
it looks so bad. But the best part of CGI, and the reason that it's the best, is because, I mean, there are some awkward parts to it, but the reason it's best is because it's throughout the entire movie is Dr. Manhattan.
Yes.
He looks so good. His mouth is sometimes a little bit weird because, again, 2009. But by and large, he looks so good.
They did really good with Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that I've always thought was fun is the fact that they had him wear an LED suit. Not like he wasn't wearing mocap. He wore an LED suit that was blue. And so the blue light that you see on everybody else is being made. It's not something that they add in post.
I think it's cool that they're starting to do that with Star Wars now, with like just the LED lightsabers, you know, just the ones you could buy from like battle sabers, you know, so that way it reflects on them. I like it when they do that. It's a smart tactic.
Yeah, and it adds that little bit of realism that like you don't necessarily think about it.
Yeah.
But when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, or the show, whatever, you're like, oh, this looks really good. And it's not until afterwards you find out, oh, it's because they're seeing it. The actors are seeing it, so they have something to act off of.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's probably really good for the actors too.
Yeah, for sure. The cinematography in this movie, we talked a lot about the zooms and all this. By and large, really good though.
Yes.
I want to say it's somebody Fong. I can't remember. While I look that up, what were you gonna say?
Basically, I forgot my point. Dang it.
Anyways.
But yes, Dr. Manhattan looked great.
Larry Fong.
They, you know, looking at him and then looking at the design of him in the actual show, like the Watchmen TV show, it's pretty crazy and it's pretty silly.
Well, to be fair, the show's on a TV budget. This is a movie.
I guess that's true.
You know, like it's not I mean, I agree. There's some I haven't seen the show, but I've seen stills where it looks a little funky.
I have to watch this show.
I do too, but I'm gonna wait until I reread the comic before I watch it.
That's fair. So, okay, my question is, so is this show based? Oh, yeah, it's clearly based after everything.
Yeah, and the show is more of a sequel to the book than it is to the movie.
Okay, I see.
Because, well, spoiler for the comic if you haven't read it. I know that you haven't read it, but you obviously know that at the end, Adrian Veidt wins.
Yes.
In the comic, instead, and this is, I'm actually glad that you brought this up because I forgot I wanted to talk about this.
You're welcome.
This is probably the smartest choice that Zack Snyder made in the whole movie. In the movie, the way that Ozymandias wins is that he sets off like a bunch of devices simultaneously that explode in major cities around the world that match the energy signature of Dr. Manhattan, right? And that's the way that everybody unites, quote unquote, unites and is supposed to come together. In the comic book, he doesn't do that. What he does instead is he teleports like a giant alien squid in the middle of New York City.
That's what you and your dad were talking about with the squid.
With the squid, yes. In the comic, in the sequel show, like you said, Dad was mentioning that they specifically reference the squid.
Okay.
But I think that is definitely the smartest decision that Snyder made, because I think if you end this movie with the giant squid, it's much less believable.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing that works in a comic book but doesn't work in a live action movie.
Quick question, kind of off topic, but not really. I mean, it still stays on the Watchmen. Do you think James Gunn would ever do a Watchmen, since he's following the comics pretty faithfully? Do you think he'll ever do like a, is this yeah, I mean, he can.
I think he could, but here's the thing is that he would get the tone entirely wrong.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he's capable of making a movie that is like quite so serious and dark like this. Like, there are some quote unquote dark moments in like the Suicide Squad and all this stuff, but he's constantly making light of it. Whereas Zack Snyder is like, I'm going to lean just into how horrible of a person every single person is.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean into how horrible the comedian is, because I'm going to show him doing these horrible deeds, and I'm not going to have anybody make a joke about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas I don't think James Gunn would do that. I don't think he would want to it doesn't seem like the type of story he would want to make. I would be surprised though. Sorry, I interrupted you. I would be surprised though if in the next decade we don't get another live action Watchmen movie though.
That's fair. I forgot they just did you and your dad. I guess I don't know if no, you guys were talking about the animated Dark Knight Returns.
We were talking about the animated Watchmen too.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, sorry, I must have missed that. Yeah, yeah, I still have to watch that.
I haven't seen the second chapter, but the first chapter was pretty good.
Yeah, good. I mean, because that seems really cool. I love DC, like the DC animated movies, even though sometimes the animation can be a little flat, a little way too much of 2D.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of just like line work. It looks like just a bunch, like there's no detail, there's no shading sometimes, and it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But them doing that is really cool, keeping the Watchmen alive,
Well, I mean, there's a reason that it's still in print 40 some odd, almost exactly 40 years later, right? It came out in like 86. It's 2025. Any comic book store you walk into, probably almost any Barnes and Noble you can walk into and find a copy of The Watchmen.
Yeah.
It's the book that made people outside of the comic book world realize that comic books could be a valid form of storytelling.
Yeah, Alan Moore did some.
Alan Moore, Spice Wizard, Alan Moore.
He had a band, and in that band he had a song called the Frog Song.
Alan Moore.
Yeah, Alan Moore. Fun fact: if you notice in the credits, he's not mentioned. It just says Watchmen co-created by Dave Gibbons, because Alan Moore refuses to have his name on any like the adaptations and stuff.
Really?
Last I knew, he doesn't even accept royalty checks.
Holy crap!
Yep. He hates any of the adaptations. Watchmen, V for Vendetta, any of it.
I forgot he did V for Vendetta.
Yes.
Which we have to talk about at some point.
We will at some point. I wonder, and this will be a conversation that we can have off air, but
Yeah.
it came out in 2005, so this is the 20th anniversary.
That's the year I was born.
Wow, you little baby.
Hey, man, I'm almost 21.
I'm trying to find the date that this was released, because if we could do an episode that's on the exact 20, we passed it. Oh, release date, it says 2005 on IMDb, but here release date March 7th of 2006. So yeah, maybe next March, in a couple months, we can do like a 20th anniversary thing.
We'll do an Alan Moore special.
Alan Moore.
But yeah, no, he did such a good job with that. I mean, like, he was so smart.
Are you talking about Alan Moore?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean he's he's literally one of the best comic book writers ever to do it. I mean, even his run on Swamp Thing is incredible. I mean, he wrote like 2 total issues. Probably a few more, but off the top of my head, like 2 issues for Superman. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and it's like one of the best Superman stories ever written.
And he's over here just like,
I'm gonna go live in my forest, do some wizardry in the basement, burn the royalty checks. Alan Moore.
I'm just thinking about Alan Moore sitting in this chair.
I think his voice is a little more gravelly. I'll work on it. So for V for Vendetta, I've got a perfect impression.
Alan Moore's holding the envelopes in front of a fireplace with his checks, and he just burns it and watches it burn.
Oh, hello, you little pumpkin.
I don't know, dude. Yeah, he's a space wizard. Anyways,
he's a space wizard.
All right, so there's a few things that I want to talk about before we start to end this out. I asked you before we started recording this, do you know the sort of meta history of the Watchmen characters? Like why, even though this series was published by Vertigo, which is a DC imprint, why it's completely new characters?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad. So the fun thing about this is that around this time, a few years or so before this, DC Comics had just purchased the rights to the Charlton characters. Do you know, like, do you know what I mean when I say that? Okay, it's fine. They haven't been Charlton characters for 40 years. But before they were published by DC, characters like Captain Atom, Blue Beetle, The Question, they were Charlton comics.
Oh, okay.
And that's why there's like one issue in Crisis on Infinite Earths where Blue Beetle's prominent, even though he has no impact on the entire story whatsoever. Because they were introducing him to the main universe, so it wouldn't be a shock when he showed up had his own series or whatever. Originally, when Alan Moore sent the pitch to DC, he wrote it for these Charlton characters. But DC was like, hey man, we can't do that, because if you write them with them, that means that we're basically never going to be able to use these characters again. And so Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons created all of these characters and just based them off of the Charlton characters.
Oh, okay.
So I am just curious if you're going to be able to guess who each character was based off of. So I'm going to go down the list here. All right. Who do you think Rorschach is based off of?
Based off of just the Charlton characters or DC characters in general?
Well, it would have been the Charlton characters who became DC characters. But they're all DC characters now. Who do you think Rorschach is most like? And I know that you know who this guy is. You might not know he's the inspiration, but I know you know who he is because we were just talking about a new series that he's going to get with 2 other prominent characters. That's a big hint. We just talked about it not that long ago. I'm going to give you 2 more seconds. We're not going to sit here with dead air for this long.
The Question.
That is correct. It is, in fact, The Question.
Get out of here, bro.
That's it. I did not think that you were going to get that. You waited so long.
Well, I was just thinking, I was like, it ain't Batman. I mean, Batman has some inspiration there, clearly. But, you know, like, the Question just looks so, I mean, with the mask and the top hat and
the fact that they're detectives.
The fact that they're
oh, yeah.
detectives.
I do like the idea, though, that the Question walks up and talks to Nightwing, and he's like, let me ask you a question. You know, they got to have that line in every DC animated thing he's in. Anyways, who do you think Ozymandias is based off of? I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get this because I had no idea who this character was.
Man. I don't even know where to go.
Peter Cannon, the Thunderbolt. Never heard that name before.
I don't know who that is.
They let him die in the buyout. I
Okay.
guess. All right. Who do you think Night Owl is based off of?
Blue Beetle?
Yes.
Just because of the ship.
Yep, because of the ship. Even insofar, that's a really hard sentence for some reason, as the fact that there's two of them.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there was originally Dan Garrett Blue Beetle, and then after that it was Ted Cord.
I didn't even think about that.
And then obviously now we have Jaime Reyes.
Yeah.
Who do you think the comedian is based off of?
Oh, man. Is this a character that I would know?
Yes, absolutely. And I could give you if I'm going to let you stew for a little bit, but if you want I can give you a hint. But if I give you the hint, it's going to give away who it is, I think.
Man. Give me a hint.
It's someone that we've talked about this episode.
Shoot, bro.
In relation to somebody else when we were having a discussion comparing things. That's two hints.
So we're talking about when we were talking about Zack Snyder and James Gunn.
Yes. You mentioned this character in that conversation. I ignored it specifically because I was going to talk about it now. All right, I'm giving you 5 seconds.
Oh, man. Shoot, I don't know, bro.
You give up?
Yeah.
Peacemaker.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Wait, sorry, I forgot that's it.
Wow, that was crazy. But yeah, we talked about him literally this episode.
Dang, bro, that makes sense though.
It does.
Again,
yeah.
not a good person.
It's one of those things that like once you realize it, it's just like a perfect one-to-one.
Okay, that's cool.
All right, we got a few left here. Who do you think Dr. Manhattan is based off of?
Again, do I know this person?
I think so. I mean, it's probably not a character that you're super familiar with.
Dr. Fate?
No. Man,
I don't know.
that's a decent guess, but not very good.
Okay.
It is Captain Atom.
Oh, that makes sense.
My hint to
You
you
see
was
that?
going to be that I said his name earlier in this episode.
Oh, okay.
All right, last one. Silk Spectre 2. Lori Juspechik, also known as Lori Jupiter.
Who would they base her off?
I had no idea. I think I've heard this name before, but I've never read a single thing she was in.
Oh, then yeah, maybe I don't know. Tell me.
Nightshade.
Nightshade. Don't tell me goodnight.
But then it was originally going to be Nightshade, but when he was designing the character, or when he and Dave Gibbons were designing the character, they took lots of inspiration from Black Canary as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see Black Canary with that one.
Yes. All right. So that was a fun little trivia
Dope.
section, I guess.
That's fun.
But I think that we are going to begin to end things out. But before we do, what do you think is the best scene in this movie, Shayde?
In my opinion, with the most emotion, Rorschach's death
Yeah.
gave me the most emotion.
I agree. I really like that scene. I know a lot of people don't really like the part where Dan Dreiberg drops to his knees and goes, "No!"
I thought that was such a good. That was such good acting. I thought.
I think it's
That's
fine.
why I really like that scene.
My problem with that scene is not that. It is the fact, and this is a really minor thing, but it goes against something that had a lot of screen time earlier in the movie. Why does Rorschach take the mask off? He spent the whole beginning being, "Where's my face? Where's my face?" Because he sees Rorschach as the real him and Walter Kovacs is the mask. Why would he, quote unquote, put the mask on for his death?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would. Unless that's the type of thing where it's trying to be like, even in the end, he shows who he really, quote unquote, who he really is. But I don't think that meshes with what we saw throughout the beginning of the movie.
That makes sense.
I think he should have kept the mask on the entire time. But that's just me.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact that when he does explode, blood splatters in a Rorschach symbol.
Yes.
In an ink blot.
That's cool.
Pretty cool.
At the beginning, where we like when they do that montage playing Bob Dylan. Whoa, sorry.
Wow.
Starting a car over here. We see a scene, of course, where Rorschach is like, or there's cops going up to two dudes.
Yeah, he ties him to a fire hydrant or whatever.
Yeah. His calling card was a Rorschach, and the Rorschach was in the shape of two dudes with their backs together.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because to me, it just looked like ours.
No, bro.
Watchmen opening scene.
I swear. Those
Not
are
opening scene.
two dudes with their backs together.
Two dudes. Okay, here's one thing too. And this is like minimal, but it's because that I really like the scene in the comic book when Rorschach is talking to the therapist after he's been arrested. That scene was not as good as it could have been.
No,
but
that's a fair point.
Again, that's partially because I'm biased because I love that scene in the comic book. It's like it gets a lot of playtime, and it's the type of thing where is this it? Yeah. Oh, it's not. It is a fire hydrant. It's the type of thing where the psychiatrist like starts to question like the meaning of life and all of this. Okay, I guess if you want to see that, what do you mean, dog?
I don't know. I read it.
You read it? Nah, that's somebody trying to make a reason for that. It's the same Rorschach symbol as he has in the comic book.
Well, you know, what are you gonna
It's
do?
just a R. I mean, maybe if these lines were up top and it looked like their heads, or they had a longer thing so it looked like they were laying down. Nah. That's somebody who's reading too much into the test. Anyways.
Well, yeah, I guess fine.
Anyways, I think the best scene in the movie, and we talked about this earlier, to me the best scene is the same as the best issue in the comic book series. It's the Dr. Manhattan on Mars. It's when we go through his origin.
That's such a good panel.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that panel.
Which panel?
Where Dr. Manhattan's just sitting on a rock on Mars.
Well, yes, that's a good panel. Yes. I'm sorry. The whole sequence though is so good, and it's in the movie. That's one of those ideas that's really easy to get across on the page, but in the movie, adapting that, you're like, man, how is this really going to work? He really pulled it off there with the different time changes. I think it's done really, really well and gives you the perfect insight into the way in which Dr. Manhattan views the world, views all of time, all of reality. It's so fascinating.
That's a fair scene. It's a good scene.
It is. I really, really like it. Now, who do you think is the best actor in this movie? For me, it's a clear choice.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have the same choice. Rorschach.
Yeah, Jackie Earle Haley.
He played the ever living
Bejesus.
I was gonna say frag. Frag. But yeah, he played really good in this.
He did. And like we were saying earlier, I mean, this is the movie is so focused on Rorschach that if you have a lesser actor in that role, the entire movie falls apart. Even if you still have Patrick Wilson and Billy Crudup and Matthew Good, even if you have all of them and they're as good as they are now, the movie fails without Rorschach.
Yeah.
It's because of his investigation that we actually see the movie happen in any way. So good. To me, a close second is probably Billy Crudup.
Yeah.
He's so good as Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
And it would be so easy. Again, if that role were played by a lesser actor, it would be so easy for Dr. Manhattan to be so bland and boring throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, but he's not. You know, he keeps you interested, keeps you piqued.
Yeah, for sure. But it's we said it's a clear choice, but it is like we said, everybody's doing so good. Everybody's great.
It was a very phenomenal casting choice for all of them.
I actually, now that we're talking about it, I kind of am curious who the casting director was for this. Because they deserve to be given a lot of money.
Yes.
But as I look for that, Shade, let's round things out with what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I'll go back and watch this movie time and time again till the day I die. Till I'm cold in my coffin.
Wow.
No, I love this movie so much. Again, like we talked about, I think the casting is great. I think the acting is great. I think the cinematography is great. I don't have too many problems with this movie as I would other superhero movies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I do praise it a little too highly, I will say, but I don't care.
I think it's a good movie. I think there's a lot more nostalgia in there than you're willing to admit.
Well, sorry.
Go ahead.
My mom had a DVD of this when I was really young.
My point exactly. Like, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. But yeah, my point exactly. I'm curious to revisit this in, let's say 4 years, just for fun, because then it'll be the 20th anniversary of this movie too. But I'm curious to revisit it, for you to revisit it in the future and see how much your mileage varies.
Wouldn't it be funny if I love it even more?
Yeah.
Just like, this movie is my number one. No, I don't know.
No, it's a good movie. I do agree with you. It is pretty good. It's definitely, I think, better than most people give it credit for. I think the extended cut and the ultimate cut are much better than the theatrical. But it's good. It's definitely worth a viewing. It's long, but it's an Alan Moore comic. It deserves a long runtime. To be able to, again, like I said earlier, the fact that this movie is even vaguely comprehensible is a testament to the writing.
Dialogue alone with Alan Moore needs like 3 hours.
Yeah.
At max.
Yeah. One final thing before we close things out. I was going to say this earlier and I forgot. Originally, they had a different ending where after Rorschach got killed, Night Owl was going to charge in and stab Ozymandias in the chest. They decided not to do that. And when they were rewriting it, they brought in Dave Gibbons to do like storyboards and to help figure it out so that it was closer to the source material.
Ah, okay.
So shout out to Dave Gibbons. I think he wrote for the Art of the Watchmen movie, which is a great read. But yeah, I think we're going to end it out there. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think of Watchmen 2009. Do you think I'm right? Do you think Shade's right? Or do you think we're both wrong in that there's never been a better superhero movie better than this?
Yeah. Which I won't blame you for if you say that.
Superman 78.
Brother.
I rest my case. I didn't even mention that one earlier.
Damn.
I didn't even mention that one earlier.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, we're going to end it there. So stick around until next week where we're going to talk more about movies, nerdy things, and all things geeky, joyous, and fun.
Yes. Geeky, joyous, and fun.
Geeky, joyous, and fun. That's what's going to be written on the tombstone. All right. We'll catch you guys.